Hey everyone, this is going to be a tutorial for Higher Ground, originally done by Stevie Wonder, also popularly done by the Red Hot Chili Peppers and many others, and actually Eric Clapton does a version that I really like. And so this is going to be a breakdown of the version that I've posted on YouTube though, and it's in standard tuning, and it's in the key of A. I do it in A. I can't remember what the original key is, probably higher than that. And let's get into it. So the main riff for Higher Ground, the way that I play it, is that we're set up for an A chord, an A power chord. So it's the D and G string being fretted by the index finger at the 2nd fret, and the open A string. And then with the right hand, we're gonna palm mute, especially the A string, and we're gonna start off with down up strokes, down up, just on that open A string, followed by a down up strum on that A power chord. Just like that, and that's going to set up the groove. And then we're going to do this octave part, so we're hammering the A string, the index finger to the 3rd fret, and then the pinky is playing the G string at the 5th fret, and we're going to use an upstroke with that, so it's down, up. And then we do the same thing at the 5th and 7th frets, or this is C over here, and that's D. So I'd work on that as well, and then put it together. And I would keep palm muting this A string so that it doesn't sound too bright like that. It sounds a bit more dampened. And that G string upstroke is a bit more of a spike, like a dynamic. And then we're going to set up the second half of the riff. We do, again, a muted open A string down up before we do this slide. So this is the D string sliding 5th fret to 7th fret with the pinky, and then the index finger at the 5th fret on the D string. And then the open A string again, and then we slide 5 to 7 on the A string with the pinky, open A string again, and then A string 5th fret with the pinky with a bit of vibrato, and then A string 3rd fret with the index finger. So slower. When I do this part, I do it all with downstrokes, but it would be good to go down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down. So that would be, to get some upstrokes in there, probably better technique, but for whatever reason, instinctively, I just play it all downstrokes. On that, sometimes instead of vibrato, like that, instead of doing that, I'll do a slide, 5, 5, 6, 5, before going to the 3. And then the main thing is to palm mute it. Even this part, pretty much everything that's happening on the A string is palm muted at least a little bit, and then you can experiment with how much you want that muted sound to be there. That's the idea. And then when we get into the rhythm part for the verse, when the vocals come in, it's very much like LaGrange by ZZ Top. That's it. Especially that. On the A chord. So it's just power chords, right? So we have the A chord, same kind of rhythm, down, up on the open A string, down, up on the strum, of the power chord, and then C power chord, which is 3 on the A string with the index finger, 5 on the D string with the ring finger, 5 on the G string with the pinky finger, and then move it over to D, which is 5th fret on the A string. Same setup, same fingers, 1, 3, and 4 fingers, index, ring, and pinky fingers. You can put an open A string between them. So that's kind of just the index finger lifting off. Really, you're gonna have to lift all of them, but especially that index finger in between. And if you do a downstroke on that power chord, upstroke on the transition, and downstroke when you get to the D. C, A, D, A. Whoops. What is that? And then when you do this part, down, up, up, down, up, down, up. So this is the shuffle feel. Downstroke on the open A string, upstroke across, especially the G and the D string, but even if you get the A string, that's okay. So it's like a dampened downstroke, or a muted downstroke, and then an unmuted upstroke. And is there, what, 4 of them? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. And then I changed the bass line up. With the thumb, I use the thumb for the 2nd fret on the low E string, that's F sharp. And then I use the middle finger. You could maybe try the thumb for both, but I use the middle finger. That'd be interesting to use the thumb for both of them. So it's F sharp, G, 3rd fret on the low E string with the middle finger. And you could use the open E in between them. That. So F sharp, E with an upstroke, G with a downstroke. Oops. Or you could use the open A string in between, like that. F sharp, A on the upstroke, G, A. Also sounds good. Actually might be what I'm doing there. This is like a pre-chorus. So this part, it's all the same chords. These are just 9th chords. So kind of bluesy. It's like a variation of a 7th chord. It's being B7. So the setup is like that. So that's the A string, 2nd fret with the middle finger, D string, 1st fret with the index finger, G string, 2nd fret with the ring finger, and then flattening out the ring finger so that we're barring the G, B, and high E strings with just one finger like that. And that's the sound. So this just gives you the 7th, B7, and then this note gives you the 9 because it's C sharp, and the high E string F sharp, it's just a 5th. So really great sounding chord, very bluesy chord, and then it's going to move up to the D position, so from B at the 2nd fret where your middle finger is, and then to D at the 5th fret, so it's like X5, 4, 5, 5, 5, exact same setup. And then up to the 10th fret, X, 10, 9, 10, 10, 10, same setup. So this is B9, D9, and G9. So on the B chord, it's down, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, 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 up. So that's the D chord, down, 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 up, and then we mute while we transition. Big downstroke when we get to the G, down. So down, 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 up, down, up, down, up. So So it's that just it's a swung feel. Da, 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 da. Oops, get down string. Back to the riff. So those are fairly straightforward sections, I think. Not really too much else to say about them. I guess maybe one thing you can think about when you're playing these ninth chords is to make sure that your middle finger's muting the low E string. That way, I mean, you could do it with your thumb too, if your thumb reaches around, but maybe some people might struggle with having that thumb grip like that. So yeah, just that's a good thing to make sure that middle finger sits in a pocket there, that it's not like if we're too much on the tip, then it doesn't get anywhere near that low E string. So making sure that you sit in a way that it's actually touching that low E string, muting it. And the right hand doesn't have to do anything special to avoid that note. And the only other structural part is the chorus. We just see another ninth chord. We see the D9 again, so it's that this chord at the 5th fret. So the A string 5, D string 4, G5 5, G5, B5, E5, and then we're just stabbing them. So just doing kind of a press and release with the left hand on the downstroke, and then to A. So the A major. So maybe a bit more full than like we were playing in the main riff, so actually playing the B string at the 2nd fret, so that we're gonna bar with the index finger the D, G, and B strings at the 2nd fret. Chord sounds a little bit bigger and fuller there, and then I go to A7, which means that from this barred position, the index finger, it lifts up so that it's just touching or just fretting the D string 2nd fret, and then the G string will be open, B string 2nd fret with the middle finger, and the high E string 3rd fret with the pinky finger. So that gives us A7. Right? So it's just a down up on the A chord, followed by a mute with the right hand, and then downstroke on the A7. Then you go up, down, up after that. Up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down. And then to finish out the chorus, we do the B9 again, followed by the D9 again. So 2nd fret, 9th chord shape that we did in the pre-chorus. And then I'm also lazily sliding it, dragging it up. Just a little style thing. Then you just let it sustain, and then back to the main riff. So those are the main structural parts of the song, really. So it's pretty, I'd say, basic in that way. It's a very easy song structurally. And then the solo section is a lot of fun, and this is just kind of a classic thing that I do in my style of just improvising a solo in a funky, bluesy kind of approach, heavily implementing the thumb holding down the bass note. So in this case, we're playing the key of A, so it's gonna be centered around the 5th fret, and then we're thinking pentatonic, minor pentatonic, but also Dorian. those would be the two kinds of things. Pentatonic being 5/8, 5/7, 5/7, 5/7, 5/8, 5/8, minor pentatonic. Dorian being 5/7/8, 5/7, 4/5/7, 4/5/7, 5/7/8, 5/7/8. So those are the scales that I'm going to think about during the solo section. I've spent a lot of time doing, and I've talked about this kind of style in many of my previous tutorials and maybe some of the lessons that I've done as well. And so this is something that has become very comfortable for me and very easy to implement, and so in some ways kind of hard to talk about or hard to break down and to get into the nitty-gritty specifics of what I'm doing and trying to explain this maybe to a beginner player or somebody that, you know, it'd be difficult for me to kind of break it down on that level. And really it's not a style or an approach that would be something that a beginner player would be ready to play, I would say. So definitely more of an intermediate to advanced kind of technique. And so it also really depends on having a good grip, like the left-hand grip, being able to have the thumb involved to be able to do this. So this is a very like Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, also John Frusciante, and I'm sure many others, very popular in general style guitar technique of kind of blending rhythm and lead together. So what I'm doing, right, so I'm just holding down the groove with the thumb on the left hand, holding down that note. And then this is sort of the feel, down, up, what is it, down, up, up, down, down, 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 up. So this is sort of the feel, I guess, that I've adopted for this solo. First thing that you can try is to get the D string involved. So index finger on the D string 5th fret and the D string 7th fret with the ring finger. So with that rhythm, 5/5/7, 5/5/7, 5/5/7, and those are mostly on the upstrokes. Upstrokes where you're hearing those notes. Actually, up, down, up, down, up. I lied. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. This is where I'll get myself all mixed up when I try to break down something like this. That's just very, very instinctive. But I'll do my best. Try to get the G string involved. And so this is where, once we start moving to the different strings, you have to mute. Right, you're only hearing that bass note, you're not hearing the A string, you're not hearing the D string. That's because the thumb is muting the A string, and then when I'm fretting the G string, the index finger, the tip of it, is muting the D string. So you're only hearing the low E, you're only hearing the G. Same thing here. When I'm playing this note at the 7th fret with the ring finger, the tip of the finger will touch the D string so that it's muted, and the thumb is still touching the open A string so that it's muted. So now we only hear the bass note and those 4 lead notes. And right there we've already got the foundation of what is allowing me to play like this. I can play tons of bluesy runs with these 4 notes. And in fact, this is a technique that I used to teach people how to do basic blues pentatonic soloing, is just to limit yourself to these 4 notes and be able to work on your phrasing. And then that's where your solo technique and feel and phrasing, all that is going to come from being very versatile and creative with these 4 notes. And if you can make these notes into something interesting, then you'll be ready to play more notes, to add more notes with the same principles, and your instincts will be much better than trying to use the whole breadth of the pentatonic scale or Dorian mode, or whatever scale you're using can be overwhelming. There's just too many notes and variables and options, and everything that we can learn with good phrasing, we can learn with just a few notes. And so that same concept applies here, but now we just have the added challenge of playing that bass note and keeping the rhythm section kind of held down with that. So that would be my advice, is to put on a click track or a metronome or something to kind of keep you honest with the rhythm, and then go to work with that strumming right hand technique, making sure everything's clean and muted, and then trying to get your phrasing happening within those 4 notes. And if that's too much, if that's too overwhelming, then just use those 4 notes. Forget about the rhythm. Don't forget about the bass, I should say, and just work on your phrasing with those 4 notes, basically, until you're comfortable with that, and then you can start trying to implement the thumb. So then what I'll start to do is I'll flatten out the ring finger and the first finger so that I'm barring, so that you hear these sounds. There's double stops, G and B string at the 5th fret, G and B string at the 7th fret. It's the same, right? So it's the same kind of 4-note foundation, just now that has an extra element of sounding like a double stop. Same thing, you can double stop the D and the G string as well, so wherever you feel that. And then you can even turn it into a chord if you flatten out right to the high E string. Then we hear that 9th sound that we were getting when we were playing these chords. Right, so now that's the... So you can see I'm doing a lot of chromatic sliding too. Sounds really good. So going 6 to 7 on that slide. The pinky a lot like that on the B and the high E string here at the 8th fret, kind of like Foxy Lady. That's probably where I got that from. So that's a very Hendrix kind of sound, but I'll use that. So that's just sliding B string, high E string at the 8th fret to the 7th fret. Up on the A string, 5, 6, 7. I'll get out of position down below the pentatonic scale so that I have access to these notes, which is 5, 4, 3 on the A string, 5, 4, 3 on the E string. So then that's all just worked into the phrasing. that point, just playing through the blues scale. And I'm going to try to really delve into my pentatonic instincts, which I think as intermediate to advanced guitar player, that's definitely something that you should have worked on and really developed that to a certain degree. And so then that's what you're going to be drawing on, is wherever that is for you, you want to be able to have that bass note alive and vibing, and then able to reach around and get some really cool pentatonic ideas expressing itself out. I'll go up to this sound too. This is a sound I like a lot. This is another very common bluesy minor triad. So this is the G string at the 9th fret and B string at the 8th fret. So I'll be up there, and then I'll kind of find the slide back into the 7th fret of the G and the B string, pull off to 5, something like that. You can you have to let go of the bass, but you can, if you have time to do a fill, you could do some ideas up higher. So at that point, kind of sky is the limit, and you're able to push it more and more and get more creative, and then that's the goal, to the point where it's just free. You're not really having to think about what the right hand is doing. It's just holding down this rhythm, and then the muting is so so sound and so tight and solid that you're not having to worry so much about you're going to hit a loose open string and it's going to sound muddy or sloppy or whatever. Like, it's cleaned up. The thumb is doing the muting it needs to do. The index finger especially is doing the muting that it needs to do. And then the left hand is really cleaned up. The right hand is free to just strum. And then when we kind of will interrupt that strumming technique to play a lead. So we're kind of switching from a strumming technique to just a typical pentatonic style picking, and then again, but rhythmically in the mind, in the brain, we're still holding down and so then I'll throw in those 9th chords as well. So I'm finding that D9 chord to now create the sound of the 1 chord being A, to the 5 or so the 4 chord, sorry, being D. 1 to the 4. Some chromatic things, C sharp D, C sharp D. Probably the leads are going to be happening more so on the A chord, the 1 chord. And then I'll just do something funky and rhythmic when I'm playing, or I'll have to get creative like that, adding the pinky to the note or to the chord to make it more melodic. In the solo, I also throw in this chord, which is I don't know what it is, D flat 7 with what is that? That's like an 11. It's like D7 add 11 maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that's like 10x10. That's with the middle finger, ring finger. Pinky at 11 on the G string. index on the 8th fret of the B string. Everything else muted. Wild sounding chord in this context. I'll use like a 13 chord like that too, which is the thumb at the 10th fret, low E string, index finger 10 on the D string, middle finger 11 on the G string, pinky 12 on the B string, or even barring to the high E. And then to finish the solo, I think this is the chord that I use, which is the kind of the Hendrix chord, but with a high E string note at the 8th fret. So it's like 0, 7 with the middle finger on the A string, so the 7th fret, the middle finger on the A string, 6th fret with the index finger on the D string, 7th fret with the ring finger on the G string, 8th fret with the pinky finger on the B string, and then barring the pinky to the high E string on the 8th fret. You don't even really need the index finger, still. Back to the main riff of the song. So that should give you some ideas and some pointers for the solo section. These kinds of things aren't anything that I'm going to break down note for note. Whatever I did in the take that I played that's on YouTube was just improvised, and I can't remember what I played, and it's no fun for me to break it down note for note like that. It just takes too long, and I find that kind of messes me up in the future. Like, I'd start thinking too much about, you know, once I've broken it down like that, I've analyzed it too much in my mind, and now I'm going to mess myself up the next time I try to play something like that. So the way that I try to teach that stuff is just breaking down the fundamentals of what I'm doing and putting you in a position where you can improvise and find your own way and be creative, which is the most fun aspect of it. Like, learning something like that note for note isn't really that interesting. It's way more interesting if you can play in that style and improvise and be free in your own way. So yeah, so that kind of takes care of the solo section, and then really like the rest of the song is kind of recycled parts. I think, you know, I do like a ending, I kind of throw in some power chords where I'm like adding some bass. So just taking that C and D power chord, adding the low E string at in this case the 3rd fret, in this case the 5th fret. So there's some little things like that. I think I just end with 7th chords. Just 3, 5, 3, 4. Move it up 1 fret. Move it up 1 more fret. So 5, 7, 5, 6. Index finger, ring finger, barring with the index finger, middle finger. Add the pinky to the B string 8th fret. A7, that's it. So that's higher ground. Hopefully that gives you some help and gets you started playing that song. And as always, let me know if there's anything that I missed that you have some questions about. Just leave it in the comments section, and I'll do my best to explain it further. And thank you guys so much, as always, for supporting me here on Patreon. I hope you're enjoying the content, and I'll be seeing you again soon. Take it easy.